Welcome back. I'm glad you're here. Let's heal together.
Listen to this, and I'll be back.
Was a family member that had married into my family that started taking pictures of me. He told me I was pretty and he wanted to take pictures of me. And this continued on for years until right at the end of my junior high year, he showed me his one day when I was over to my family member's house. I told that family member and I told my mother. Nothing was done. My sisters didn't care about me. Nobody stood up for me to say anything.
There were red flags from the beginning. When that dude always wanted to take pictures of her, telling her she was pretty, that's part of the grooming. Now, let me make this clear. Taking pictures of someone, admiring someone, that in itself is not wrong. That in itself is not an indication of some kind of inappropriate behavior going on. But if it's always happening and they're setting this person aside, I would say that's a red flag. Pay attention to that. And she says that, and he took pictures, and it went on for years. So he was grooming her. Now, based on her pictures and looking at her now, she was a beautiful girl, and she turned into a beautiful young lady. Now she's a beautiful woman. So that part wasn't lying. She was beautiful, and she is beautiful now. But she said at the end of her junior year, that's when he showed her his private area, his male organ. And then she said she told a family member. She told a member whose house she was over. And she told her mama. And she said that they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. That's all too common. They didn't do anything. And let me finish what she said, and then I'm going to come back with my view. She said they didn't do anything. And she said her sisters did nothing. Her sister didn't say anything. Nobody stood up for her. So here she is, has been groomed. Now when the groomer has come to a point where he feel like with the iron is hot, strike when the iron is hot, he's done his job. And I'm sure he was observing what was going on around him with the other family members, the grown-ups. Not the sisters, because they were children as well. But those other grown-ups, the family member he was marrying, the family members around, what were they doing? What were they saying? When they saw this man paying all this attention to this girl, what were they doing? See, he, I'm sure, was paying attention to every little detail. He wasn't missing anything. And I don't know, she didn't say how she felt about him taking those pictures. She may have felt uncomfortable. She may not. She may have been flattered. I don't know. But the point is, this grown man started grooming her when she was a little girl, telling her how pretty she was. And she said the family member whose house she was over didn't do anything. She said the mother didn't do anything. Now, there's a good possibility. I'm speculating here. I don't know this lady. I don't know her family dynamics, but I know the dynamics of abuse. I know that very well. And in all probability, her mama probably had been abused and seen abuse take place. And she mentioned her sisters, that they didn't say anything and they did nothing. Her sisters were children themselves. And even if they were older than her, they were children when they started. And if she was in junior high school, let's just say, the rule of average in a family, if she was in junior high, where she was about 15, and if the children were older than her sisters, maybe they was 20, that oldest one maybe was 20, they were still children, and they were all in that same environment. They were all a product of that dynamics of this abusive family. So when you see one person being abused, in all probability, others are too. And just like she spoke up. See, she spoke up. A lot of times you don't speak up. You learn early not to speak up. But and think about if the sister was older or if they were younger. They heard her speaking up. They saw nothing being done by the adults. So what did that tell them? I'm not going to say anything either. Because now, do you know how that feels? Now, she didn't say this, but the dynamic says this. She probably was being shunned, especially when she spoke up. She probably was being shunned. She probably was told, don't say that. The person could have just stared at her. All these things happens at different times with different people when they talk about the abuse or when they report the abuse. I don't know, she may have gotten beat. What did her sisters see that made them know that they had better not say anything? Or for their own preservation, they said, I'm just not going to say anything. What happened? Or what didn't happen? What was present? What wasn't present? What went on in that family structure where that predator knew it was okay to do what he did, and the other children knew that they'd better be quiet about it? When you're crying out to your mother, your father, your aunts, uncles, some of these adults, and they do nothing, do you know what that does to you? It creates a lifetime of trying to make yourself feel worth something. And I go more into that. I have a whole series about the myth of Morris in the Black community, where I address different family. I was trying to think about what I should call it, but anyway, I discuss different parts of the family: the adults, the children, the brothers, the sisters. Everything plays a role. I also talk about the clergy, the ministers, the mothers of the church. All these people who we were told were our saviors, we were told to look up to. What happens when they fail us? So I want you to stay tuned for the myth of Morris in the Black community, the series. I will have audio, I will have video, I will have hard copies, and I will have digital copies. There'll be several ways you can get the material, but I just want to introduce you to the channel. I don't have to introduce you to abuse. I'm sure you could tell me some things probably. And I would like you to at some point when you feel comfortable. But right now, I'm Lily Bear. I'm glad you're here. Let's heal together. And I want to say to the predator, and I want to say to the adults, predator, you violated this child. Adults who knew about it, you allowed the child to be violated. Why did you do it? I'm glad you're here. Let's heal together. Be encouraged.